call this lightning because it strikes in a flash. It's the speediest frame we've ever engineered. And it's just one of the forms this baby can take.
Hello and welcome to 15 Minute Gamer. This is a review for Crackdown 3. I'll be using my PC footage because I don't have an Xbox One. What do I think of this game? Well, we're just watching the opening cutscene at the moment. This video will contain, I think, very little spoilers. I mean, when we say spoilers, there's not much of a story to spoil anyway. But, you know, I'll try and keep it spoiler free. And yeah, I'm running it on a 1070 GTX on my computer, i5 processor, and 16 gig of RAM. So when you're watching it, at least you get a bit of an idea of what your spec could be. So let's get into it with, I think we'll start with a little bit about the graphics before we go into anything else. Now, I played Crackdown 1, I played Crackdown 2. Crackdown 1 is still possibly up there for one of my favourite games. I mean, it came out a while ago now, and I'm amazed it's taken this long to get a third one. Like, and graphically wise, I've seen a lot of reviewers saying how bad the graphics are. Now, I sit on the fence a little bit with this one because this is the Crackdown art style. This is what look it goes for. This is a look on Crackdown 1, Crackdown 2. So, if we look on it in them simple terms of, well, that's the art style they were working with, then yeah, the graphics aren't too bad at all. There's some nice little physics effects. The lighting's pretty good. The bloom, puddles, the lighting comes from it. You know, it's very ambient in how it looks in certain districts. You know, like the graphics aren't bad in a Crackdown format, if that makes sense. In a modern 2019 game, the graphics are pretty well. You know, if you put this beside something like Red Dead Redemption 2, for example, and considering this has been worked on for a very, very long, I think it was like 5 or 6 years they've been working on this or something. Like, I remember first seeing this of what was it, E3 ages ago, and they're like, yeah, destructible terrain and stuff like that. That didn't come into the real game. It's in the Wrecking Zone. I haven't tried the Wrecking Zone. Everything I've seen about it looks terrible, so I've just given up. So yeah, graphically wise, as Crackdown, yeah, fine. As a 2019 game, yeah. I mean, if you showed someone this 5, 6 years ago, even if you showed someone now, they'd probably think you were just playing Crackdown 1 or Crackdown 2. You know, if it was a Crackdown 1 remastered, you'd probably be like, yeah, the graphics are good. But yeah, so for me, I don't think they're terrible. I just don't think they're particularly up to 29 standards, but they're very smooth, very sharp. I run it on Ultra. I can't record when it's on Ultra as the frames drop to about 25, 26 frames per second from 60, but I get a solid 60 on Ultra everything. And, you know, my PC now is starting to get, you know, it's a good 2 years old now, and it's still running it fine on Ultra, so, you know, if you've got that spec, you'll be alright with that. But it's just like little graphical things like blacked out windows on buildings and cars, and even the windows you can see in buildings, like, it kind of just looks terrible. It's these little things that we've just moved past in 2019 now, and I was expecting to see a lot more from the graphics. I was expecting to see that little bit of an update. But moving on from graphics, so the only next step is, let's talk a little bit about the sound. So the overall sound design for the game is alright, it's adequate. The guns kind of have a very, I don't know, washed out sound to them. You don't feel like it's like boom, 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 boom. Some of the missile launchers maybe, but sound design in relation to weapons I wasn't too impressed with. The vehicles and ambient sounds of the world, the vehicles sound alright. You know, if you get into a sporty type car, it does actually sound like a sports car. Your agency vehicles have a nice little sound to them. You know, there's cars with sirens on, which sound pretty good. And ambient wise, like, there's not too many, like, you don't hear birds singing as you're walking around or anything like that. And you get, you know, distance explosions. There's, yeah, it's okay. And when I saw Terry Crews was the main character in this, you don't just you can change characters. I was expecting find his voice all over the game. It's not. He makes a few little quips throughout it sometimes, and apart from the opening cutscene, you kind of don't know that you're Terry Crews. Like, you wouldn't know that. And for sound design, I was expecting a lot more Terry Crews sort of stuff. It also suffers from that really annoying problem in older games. Like, again, this was acceptable a long time ago, where they repeat the same things over again. So you have the guy doing the voiceover in the first one, he's like your commander type thing, says the same things over and over and over and over and over again, and it's so irritating. He's voiced nicely, but yeah, that gets old very quickly, and the bad guys say the same sort of thing again. And like when you're attacking, like this bit here where I was attacking an AI, it's the same thing, or like, oh, blah, blah, and it's just like, stop droning on, man. So there's little things like that. Sound design for me, it was alright. It was alright. I'd expect more again from a 2019, and it's, you know, Microsoft. I was expecting a little bit more on the sound. So just to quickly chat about a few other things. Weapons. Yes, there's lots of weapons in the game. However, for me, they don't really pack a punch that I was expecting. They all feel a little bit, yeah, underpowered, I guess. And there is some fun ones I quite like. I think it's called the Thumper or something, where it fires multiple missiles out. The Homan launcher is quite good. Car-wise, plenty of cars. There's agency cars, which you can get like tanks and Batmobiles and stuff. Once you get a car or a weapon, it gets scanned and goes into your loadout, and you can then go back to the supply point and go and get it. And even though the weapons do lack that little bit of punch, there is a lot of weapons there, and some are just so much fun to use and cause a lot of destruction, and there's grenades, and you can have up to 3 weapons. So, you know, even though there's quite a few bad things about this game, I did like that variety, and the cars are fun to drive. The little driving events are a lot of fun when you're drifting around and stuff. I did quite like the cars. Right, and now that we've talked about them two things, let's just talk about the game. So, basically, you play as this agent of Terry Crews. There is other agents to collect. You collect their DNA, and then you can be them and have different specialists going on. Terry Crews is kind of sold as the, you know, from the opening cutscene, you expect him to be super amazing and powerful and stuff, and he's not. Like, he doesn't make any difference. You could play as any of the people in the game, and it would make very little difference. And if you ever played Crackdown 1, yeah, you're just a normal agent. This feels like just a normal agent. You can level up as you go through by collecting orbs, and this is what this game is about. It's a basic orb collector. So if you collect the agility orbs by climbing up buildings and so forth, you'll increase your agility. If you do driving challenges and driving, you'll go up in your driving skills. If you punch people, your strength. If you shoot people, your firearms. And you get little orbs, and they will then increase your stats, and you'll get better cars, better weapons, you'll be able to jump higher, etc., etc. So that's how you level up. If you played Crackdown 1, in the beginning, you seem to move very slowly, because obviously it's trying to make you just like, you're not superhuman or anything yet. And then as you get through and collect the orbs, you'll get better and better, and you'll be able to jump around more, hit more people, and unlock stuff. So I still like that from Crackdown 1, as in, you know, it's quite nice. I just gives you that completionist. You're like, I just got to get that agility orb. And you try to do something else, like, oh my god, I can hear the agility orb, and you'll go and get it. There's also like special orbs that give you powers over everything. The story... oh, terrible. Absolutely terrible. Basically, on this island, there's an evil corporation, and you're tasked to take it down. That's a story. That's not a spoiler. That is just the story. Story gets told in tiny little, like, comic cutscenes. Like, they don't move or animate like the beginning sequence. It's just very much like, here you go, have a look at that, and sort of tells you the next part of the story, the next baddie. How you unlock the story is basically, say there's like 6 monorails to take down. You'll take the monorails down. You'll get intel after each takedown, and then that will lead you to the final boss. You'll take that boss down. Then you'll be led to the next boss, and so forth. Bosses usually consist of shooting something consistently over and over and over and over again, and then they'll go usually through some sort of sequence, like they might put a defense up or shield up, and then you'll shoot that. Outside the story, there are driver missions to do, agility missions to do. There are like prison cells to take down, so you have to release prisoners. There's certain things, but again, all these are very repetitive. So once you've done one prison cell, you've kind of done them all. And there's like chemical plants to take down, which Chimera, I think it's called. And basically you have to throw rocks into it, and you do it every single time. And when you hover over something, it'll tell you your chance of survival. So it'll look at your stats and go, right, okay, you get an 80% chance of survival. You go around unlocking supply points. Supply points will then let you rearm and reload. You have your agency cards, which you can kind of call in, say, like the Horse of Red Dead, and that will just appear. It usually runs you over, as you saw at the beginning of this video. It usually just runs you over and blows up. There's then little things like DNA to Connect, which is your other agents, and that's kind of what you do. You're just basically doing all these kind of missions, this busy work, and then unlocking the next bad guy to take down, take the next bad guy down, and then the next bad guy, and then eventually take down the final boss battle. And that's all you do. And that's the story of Crackdown. Gameplay wise, you get stuck on a lot of scenery. There's not much variety in the missions. It's all a bit like the first hour you kind of play it, you're like, yeah, this is cool, this is cool. After about an hour or so, I'm gonna have to admit I was bored. Just bored. Like, you just realize how repetitive, dull, and boring it is. Open world games have moved on now. We have things like Red Dead and stuff like that, where things have just went that next level now. This game just hasn't evolved. It just hasn't moved on from the original Crackdown for me. You wouldn't tell it's a budget title. It looks like a total not a budget title rather than a triple A sort of game, you know, with its terrible AI, its bugs, its glitches, its repetitive mission design, its poor like variety of enemies. It's just screams budget. And there's not much else to say about the game. I think that's kind of all it. Would I recommend it for $7.99? Yeah, you'll get $7.99 out of enjoyment out of it. Would I pay full price? Not a chance would I pay full price for this game. It's just not good enough. It's boring, repetitive, graphically kind of not up there with what I'd expect from 2019 sort of thing. And for me, I was kind of disappointed in this one, but you know, never mind. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all later. Goodbye.